My son, my youngest son, I have two sons. My youngest son had coronavirus. I don't think I've really talked about it, but maybe 2 months ago, he's a young 30, and this is a guy who works out 4, 5, 6 times a week, goes bike riding 14 miles easily, then goes and plays a couple of pickup games of basketball, and he got so sick that he had to go to the emergency room not once, but twice. So I'm telling you, people who think it's not real, it's a worldwide conspiracy, because it couldn't be just a local political conspiracy, because we've got Australia and Germany and Italy and Canada and Mexico. We've never all agreed on anything. North and South Korea, we've never all agreed on anything. The whole conspiracy thing is beyond me. But even if I did think that, I have seen the impact of COVID, SARS, coronavirus. One is we're just going to use those synonymously. I don't want to get into nomenclature here, but yes, it's very real. And I had him come to my home. I did get a test at some point, but I got the test because I was in a couple of protests, and they said everybody should get a test. And my exposures have been intentional and done with empathy and concern, not random. I wear my mask, as I would suggest you do. I wore a mask all the years that I was in clinical practice, so wearing masks is not new to me, nor do I have any doubt about their effectiveness in preventing the transmission of disease. And I've said that from day one, even when we were being told, well, masks may or may not help. I'm like, really? Oh, I don't think so. No, mask help. But that's neither here nor there. So my youngest son, AC, right, called me the first time and let me know he was going to ER. He had this tremendous chest pain and other symptoms, but the main thing was the chest pain. Now, you have to understand, this is a guy who got his tooth straight up dislodged, knocked out from an elbow during a basketball game in high school, and he wanted to keep playing. He's had dislocated elbows. He's got a crooked finger that was broken, and he just never mentioned it. This is somebody with a pretty good pain threshold. So for him to let me know that he was going to the ER and he just goes to the doctor for checkups, I went into straight up mama mode. I was extremely alarmed because I knew he wouldn't go unless he felt very, very, very ill. And he was diagnosed initially with pneumonia. And at this point, I think we all know pneumonia in the spring with a young adult and body aches and a fever we can pretty much call it COVID-19, coronavirus, right? And he's single like me, and he was going to go home, and I had seen all this stuff on TV about, these people, the neurological problems, the delirium. I mean, just the other day, D.L. Hughley just passed out on stage from, they thought, exhaustion, but it turned out he had coronavirus. So yes, a lot of people have mild symptoms, coughing, a little temperature, body aches, but there are young people getting very, very ill from this. And even though I take oral chemotherapy daily, that's no secret, and had been home pretty much in the boredom of isolation, I insisted that he come here, because the thought, as you parents know, of my child, and he'll always be my child, both my boys, of my child being home alone, passed out, unable to eat. I've had pneumonia before, just pneumonia, and it was debilitating. The loss of strength. I've had flu and pneumonia. Flu on steroids is pneumonia. So he came, and I was, I'm an information person, so I was poring over the internet. And if you have a family member who has coronavirus, has the symptoms, they're not testing everyone, but if you have someone who has, loss of smell, taste, the fever, they're ill, and they're in your home and you're not ill, this article, what I learned, it was posted in the New York Times magazine a month or so ago, but it's what I learned when my husband got sick with coronavirus. And it's been read, downloaded, viewed millions of times, because this reporter, Jessica Lustig, I might be mispronouncing her name, I don't have my glasses on, but she goes into great detail about what she went through to make sure that while she cared for her husband who was ill, that she and the other family members did not get sick. This is the kind of information we need, right? I don't need just the numbers of people who are infected and the numbers of people who are dying, but the people who survive, or images of the people who survive post COVID. How are you getting through this? How are you preventing grandma, mom and dad, your kids from getting sick? And she does a good job of talking about, using disposable dishes. I'm blessed that I was able to put my son in an area of the home where he had a bedroom and a bathroom that he could use. We didn't have to share, but I was scared. Oh my goodness. I was working and preparing 3 meals a day for him, which I'm single, I don't do, but I even if he didn't eat them, I wanted him to have that option of nutritious food. I wanted to do everything I could to ensure that he survived, that his body could fight off this beast that's got the whole world terrified. So, his separate thermometer, dishes that couldn't be, disposable, cleaning those, and the washing, and letting the windows up for fresh air, and just checking on him. If you don't have Marco Polo, that is a great app. Marco Polo, like we used to play in the pool, you can send text, video text, so they don't have to be viewed immediately. In our case, I was viewing them immediately, but it's just a really neat way to be able to keep in touch with family members and not necessarily disrupt whatever they're doing, like with FaceTime and Duo, where they have to click over and view you immediately. Marco Polo, that's my takeaway for the day, for those of you who don't have it. And this article by this woman, it's not too technical to understand, it's not vague, but if you have a family member who has coronavirus, I would highly, out of all the things I read, and trust me, I read a lot because I'm an information junkie, I'm a nerd. This was the most helpful in a practical way. So then I was in a couple of marches, a couple of protests, because I'm very much into what is going on now in regards to our public opinion discourse regarding racial disparities and inequities. But because of that, I felt the need to get a COVID test for myself. I started coughing and having some congestion and some headaches. So I wanted to get a COVID test before I finally went to see my parents after 5 months of not seeing them. And so if you haven't had a COVID test, I should have filmed it while I was doing it, but I didn't know if they'd let you. And it was a drive-through at this place. I'm not going to say it, but should be able to say it because I paid for my test. But you go through the drive-through. I didn't know, what to expect because no one told me. That's why I'm telling you. And you go through the drive-thru. I thought someone would be standing there or someone would, I don't know, somehow lean out of the window and do the test on me. No, you do it yourself now. And so in the little thing where they send you your medication in the drive-thru, I got this bag, this paper bag. And inside the paper bag was this bag, and it had a vial in it, like that, and a really, really long Q-tip, longer than this. And I'll show you. That's how long it was. But it doesn't, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It was this long. And yeah, okay, it was long. So you take that and what did I do? I forgot. Yes, that's what it was. You take it and there's a mark on it, right? And so you have to put it up your nose. Again, it's this long. This is for illustration purposes. You have to put it up your nose. So this Q-tip, a normal Q-tip is what, 3 inches? And so that's about 2.5 times. Oh, about 2 normal Q-tips. I wouldn't try this at home. I would seriously wait until it's time to do it. But sooner or later, I think we're all going to have to get tested. So again, it looks like that. And you've got to stick it up your nose to that mark on it. It's a little round thing, but it just gives you a stopping point. So you put it up your nose and you twirl it for however many seconds. The guy is counting and talking on the phone and doing some other stuff, but he was really nice. And you twirl it, so it's up your nostril, you twirl it, and then you just have it against the mucosa, the lining, to absorb whatever it's doing, cells in the virus. And then, unbelievably, you take it out of there and do the other side. Who knew? Nobody's telling me this when I watch the news. They need to share this information. So, heads back, you put it up there, and it's not horrible. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's uncomfortable. I would give it a good 4.7, and I've experienced a 10. It's, but when you think about it being life-saving and preventing you from possibly infecting someone else you love, especially if you're asymptomatic, which I had a little cough and congestion, but pollen's real high, so I didn't know. So I did it. And then the tube, then you stick it in there and you drop it all in another little basket. You even have to wipe the basket off. They give you disinfectant. They are not touching anything. And I can't blame them because there was a line. Even though I had an appointment, there was a line. But you get to keep this, heaven knows why, so that I can show you, right? Or you can hear about it on the podcast. So long Q-tip in a tube, swirl it around one nostril, one maxillary sinus, and then swirl it around the other side, drop it in the tube, go home. I did it on a Thursday. He said, I don't remember how many business days, but I want to say by Tuesday, I had the results. I was hoping to get them over the weekend. I was nervous. I don't know what the guy said, but I had them by Tuesday and they were negative. There are false positive and false negatives, but I've had no additional symptoms and I feel like I'm okay. As for my son, he was here and he was getting better, and then he started to feel worse. He could not lie down flat and he felt a heaviness in his chest. So we went back to the emergency room and they gave him medication. I won't say which because I don't want you going to your doctor insisting on anything. Even with this, I think it has to be a case-by-case basis, but he did have medication and something for pain. And after about 10 days, he started to turn the corner, but he was sleeping in a chair at one point. And I've read about several people who felt it was easier if they were upright a bit and if they made themselves cough a lot that seem to help the lungs. By all means, follow your doctor's advice, but if you're taking care of a family member, it is a bit overwhelming, particularly if you're a parent, a care provider who doesn't want to get it, who is at high risk for contracting the virus. You're at high risk, and the consequences could be much worse. In retrospect, I'd like to say that given a different choice, I would do something different, but I don't know that I would. That's my son, and I've read about entire families, multiple generations who lived together in Italy, and all of them have passed away because they were in close confines and couldn't leave, had to stay at home, and someone contracted the disease, and they all died. And that's happened in several cases. So I'm gonna say, follow orders and do what they say, and let the person fend for themselves. But I'm not gonna lie, that's not what I did. He got better. I did not get the disease. It was a risk, but we both survived. And that's the takeaway of this, is that we both survived that. And I hope you're doing what's necessary to take care of yourself, that you're wearing masks, that you're staying hydrated, that you are several leading healthcare providers and people who specialize in this type of thing say that the stronger you are, the healthier you are, the more rested you are when it comes. And we've got millions of people who contracted it. It may eventually get to all of us, as they said, with the herd immunity. But when it comes, just be as ready as possible. You know the fight is coming. Now's the time to build yourself up and be ready. And my prayer for you is that you survive whatever comes your way, and that SARS COVID-19 does not. If you've had an experience with coronavirus yourself or a family member, please post in the comments. Let us know what you did, what recommendations you have. We are not drinking Lysol bleach. We're not injecting anything. I mean, serious stuff. And if you just, if you don't believe in it, so be it. But I'm speaking from experience. I saw it for myself from a guy who has no reason to be faking symptoms. He's just not that kind of guy. So take care of yourself. Let us know what you're doing out there. If you have some questions, post those. I'll comment to the best of my ability. There's great information on the World Health Organization's website, as well as the CDC. Lots of great advice. So you guys be safe. Please like, follow, subscribe. Dr. Mo Anderson and Perpetual Motion will keep bringing you information to help you live longer, happier, better lives. Take care.